Hey guys, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a really simple but beautiful Calla Lily paper flower. So Calla lilies are these curvy, gorgeous little flowers. You'll probably recognize it once you see me make it. A lot of times they are actually white, so if you happen to have white paper and that's all you have, you are in luck because this is your flower. Calla lilies very often are white. Most flowers come in the shade of white at some point, but Calla lilies are more known to be white. But you could use any color you want, honestly. It does not have to be a traditional white Calla lily flower. You're also going to want some sort of color to be the insert. Now, as I have said many times before, if you don't have colored paper, white paper is going to work just fine. You might want to have on hand some markers, crayons, or color pencils so you can color some paper that you could use as the center of flowers and things like that. You can also take your white piece of paper, and before you cut it up and do anything with it, you can color it with watercolor, with markers, crayons, color pencils, whatever you want. If you have construction paper, fabulous. You could also even use wrapping paper. That could be really fun and funky, having some cool patterns. So I'm going to be using white paper for the Calla lily. I'm going to be using yellow paper for the center of it. And depending on how you want to make this center, you may or may not need something to keep it permanent, like a toothpick, which I will show you what I'm talking about in just a little bit. But let's start with the Calla lily shape. So the first step is to make the shape of our Calla lily. So to make our Calla lily shape, you're going to need to draw a sort of teardrop shape. Now, however big you make it, that's how big your flower is going to be. So if you want a very small Calla lily, you're going to make a very small teardrop shape. If you want to make a very large one, you're going to make a very large teardrop. So to do a teardrop, you can start with a V at the top. It's an upside down V, as you can see. And then you can, on the sides, come down and create sort of a big curvy shape. Okay. Now, if you want it to be fatter or thinner, that's up to you. I'm also going to, at the end, kind of add this extra little sort of rectangle at the bottom. Kind of almost looks like those old-fashioned Christmas bulbs a little bit too. So again, however big or small you want it, that's going to be up to you. When you get the shape the way you want it, which is why I recommend doing it in pencil first and not just going for it and hoping it works out, you're going to take your scissors. I like to cut it out of the big sheet. Gives me a little bit less paper to deal with. This is always a good piece of advice if you're trying to draw, cut something out. Not having a huge paper around you to deal with makes it just so much more manageable. And if you don't like all of this pencil mark showing, you can always erase it after, or you can always flip it over and just use the other side. I'm going to do a little bit of both. I'm going to erase it so you can't see the pencil line as much, just in case it decides to show up when I'm finished. But then I'm also going to flip it over so I have a nice clean side to work with. Now, in addition to the papers, you're also going to need, like I said, your pencil. Your pencil is not going to be just for drawing with. We're actually going to use it to help create some curves. Calla lilies are not flat, they're curved on either side. So you're going to take one side of this teardrop shape and we're going to roll over the pencil to create sort of a curvy shape, and it's going to stay put pretty well, especially if you're using stiffer, heavier paper. Even if you're not, it should stay together pretty well. So I'm going to roll the other side, and we have sort of the beginning shapes of our Calla lily, because what we're going to do is join them together. This is basically a Calla lily shape. The Calla lilies are known for having this tall, skinny, yellow piece sticking out of the middle, and we don't have that here, so that's something we need to add before we glue this together permanently. We need to get that in there. So there's a couple ways of doing it. One, you could find something that you don't mind permanently gluing in there, like let's say a toothpick or maybe a stick from outside, something like that. And what you can do if you decide to do this method is take a little piece of yellow paper or color something yellow, and you could actually roll it and glue it to this and then stick this whole piece in there. So that's one thing that you could do. I'm going to actually show you two different ways. So I'm going to show you this way first. So I'm going to take some glue, put a little bit of glue here. You could use liquid glue, you could use super glue, you could use glue stick, you could use tape even. If you don't have any glue, you could roll this over and then just tape it closed. I'm going to roll it over the toothpick, and then I'm going to cut this extra piece off. And I could just take this piece as it is, glue it in there, and there I have my nice little centerpiece, so it looks like my lovely little Calla Lily. That is one thing you could do. If you don't have something that you are, want to keep permanently stuck to it, after you do the roll and glue, just like I did, you could slide it out and you still have this rolled glued piece. Isn't that kind of cool and tricky? So you don't have to permanently lose your stick or your toothpick or whatever it is you're using, the handle of a brush or whatever. You can just slide it out afterwards and you should be able to have still this beautiful little like yellow tube to work with. I'm going to put a little bit of glue right at the bottom here and on one side. So see where I put it? That's why I use purple glue, so you can see where I'm gluing. Right on the bottom and just on the inside there. I'm going to stick this in there, and then I'm going to overlap and make sure that the glue from here is sticking to the glue from here. You might, for this particular one, need to hold it for just a minute or two so that it can stay glued, or if you're not going to use a glue stick, you just use a slice of tape right there and you're good to go also. And here we have a beautiful Calla Lily flower. Super easy, super simple, doesn't take a lot of steps, and looks really awesome. So good luck, can't wait to see them.